Morning. Hi.
Hi, Ricky. I'll be right back. I just wanted to open this up.
Hey, Ricky.
Oh no, I'm taking my face off of this thing
Why?
because I look like hell.
No, you don't.
So if you
Yes,
do want,
I
we'd love to see your face, but if you want
Yeah,
to,
well,
do that.
don't look.
Ooh, it's chilly, 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 chilly. When's the snow coming? Anybody know?
No.
Excuse me. It tickled my throat. Quiet. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm hanging in. I'm exhausted from working too hard in the restaurant, but
So you're doing takeout?
tons of it.
Well, I'm glad that you're getting a lot of business.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you. We did $1,000 in takeout before 2:00 yesterday.
Wow.
But I made all these family dinners, so now I already got a phone call this morning. So what are you going to do different next week?
Oh boy. I feel bad for the ones we try to, support somebody Friday and Saturday. Hey, quiet. Hey. Hey.
Ricky Dyer.
What? Shave your damn face.
I can't hear you, Ricky. You're on mute, girlfriend.
Good.
Hi.
Oof.
You're on mute.
I think you're still on mute, Ricky.
Not
trying to
Ricky
call.
is, Angela is.
I can hear Ricky.
But now he's on mute.
Maybe it's everybody else that's on mute. And I'm the one that can't get it.
Caleb's on mute.
There.
Hi.
I can unmute everybody. Then you have to remute yourself.
Hi, I'm Ben Osborne. I'm an addict.
Yeah.
Coming out that way. Woo.
Just what kind of addict is what it is. Mhm.
Oh, you got a pup behind you too. Somebody's out front, so he's going crazy. Quiet. I know you're a good boy.
All
You want
right.
to wait a sec, or how's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing good.
Sun just popped out.
I know, before the snow, right? When's the snow coming?
Right.
After 4, after 2.
Oh, okay. So we get a little bit of time to get out there.
Yeah. Well, we'll get started here. Looks like still got a couple people popping in, which is awesome. Seems like we've usually had anywhere about 10 to 12 people on here daily. Got Holly on here today. We got Ricky making an appearance. Love to see his face here.
You're too nice.
And he's been crazy busy at the restaurant, as you can imagine. Plus, he's got a deal under contract, so we want to hear about that a little later, how that went. But I just asked Holly to kind of kick us off, help keep our energy up, our director of development, check in on how we're doing on lead gen and things like that. So I'll let Holly pop in here.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. I'm doing some social setup today with Caleb. No, not Caleb. Who am I doing? Kyle. We're going to do that today. So if anybody needs some help, I'm in day 2 of working from home. I'm already antsy. Is anybody else antsy? But you know what? People are coming out and showing. So, I really sat down after I listened to Brian Buffini's Lessons from the Ashes the other day. I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen. I think it's about 36 minutes. And I loved it. I'm going to listen to that again, actually. Did anybody on here listen to that yet or have
Yeah.
any? What'd you think, Ben?
Oh, I mean, it ties into. I mean, I'm a Buffini guy. It's how I started my career, and nothing changes from when I started listening to him in 2014. It's even more relevant. Did anybody see that Marty sent to me that Zillow is no longer buying homes as of yesterday?
No.
I saw it.
Yep. So I mean that's what everything Buffini comes down to. The disruptors, they'll hang out as long as the market's perfect for them, but they can't weather the storm because they're not relationship based like we are, and that's what Buffini talks about as being relational and not transactional. So
But did you see the new one?
which one?
The 72-hour one?
72-hour what?
Well, these people, supposedly it's a new commercial on TV. You hook up with them, they 72 something.com, I don't know. Anyway, buy your house at full market value and will sell it in 72 hours.
Yeah, or pay for it or something. My wife said she saw the same thing on the TV. It said like a
Oh,
home
you'll have to look. We'll have to
video.
look it up. See if
Yeah,
there's anything we can
it's a new
steal.
one.
So no, I like it. Like I said with Zillow too. Like they're gonna last for a little bit, but they're not gonna have the market share. They're gonna be that 5% of the market where 80% of the work is done by 20% of us that are out there hustling. So
Yeah.
interesting to find out what they're doing, but I wonder how long their capital is gonna be there to do that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's a big opportunity with Zillow not purchasing homes. And I'm not sure if Open Door has reneged in the Denver market, but they did stop purchasing in Atlanta. So I was going to see if they were doing anything now here. But, you know, that's a great opportunity. I had talked about a couple months ago, you know, and I think it may have been in the Atlanta market I was talking because we have a whole iBuyer. We do an update quarterly on how much of the market the iBuyers are taking in the Atlanta market by zip code. And there was a lot of opportunity, and I told people mostly they were buying the under, 250. Of course, we don't really have that many under 250. I don't think we have any inventory under 250 in Denver.
Yeah, no.
But there was a great opportunity, back then about, hey, if you've requested a cash offer, I'd be happy to sit down for free and let you know how much below market it is, because it's never going to be at market value.
No.
So, but there's some competition going away, which means there's some opportunity for people. And one of the things Brian was talking about in Lessons from the Ashes was, if you were to start over today, and I think some of us might have time, what in your business and in your life is working? What's going really well for you? And then you write a list of what could you start over? What would you start over from scratch if you could? And I thought it was really relevant to right now. One, we might have a little more time. Let me shut this door, sorry. You might have more time than you normally have. But the other big thing that I realized, I help a builder out in Strasbourg with new construction, and he slashed prices like ridiculous.
Wow.
And the phone has been ringing off the hook. And what it's exposing, and probably for all of you, is people that are truly motivated. So for me, I could say, wow, I could really learn to hone my skills on figuring out how motivated people are. Do I ask the right questions? Have you ever worked with a C client? I always teach people to figure out if people are an A, B, or a C. And C's are people that, say, well, I'll move if the perfect house appears, which of course there is no perfect house, right? The perfect house is the one that you actually buy. So I thought it was kind of interesting that right now, and even out in Strasbourg, I'm not showing, so I have to go through a series of questions. We're only giving out logbox codes to people that can buy right now. Like their house is either on the market and under contract with a very strong purchaser, or they're in a renting position and they're ready to make an offer. We're not just opening up those houses because they have to be cleaned every day. And plus we don't want, nobody's out there. I mean, the construction crew's out there. So I really have to hone in on asking the right questions. And I'm like, wow, this is a skill that could help all of us not spend time with tire kickers or just ask better questions. It's not that we ignore tire kickers, right? There's a system for working with people that don't have a motivation as an A. There's absolutely a system for C's, and there should be a system for your B clients and for your A clients. So I thought, what a great thing for you to even think about what does your pipeline look like? And just really sit down and analyze maybe your top referring people, how you're going to really stay in touch and drill down with your top referrers. And maybe that's a list of 20, your A pluses, and then start looking at your pipeline. I have people right now just going through the alphabet of their database, starting with the A's, and they're sitting down and they're opening up Bouge and they're just seeing how much information do they know about them? How long have they been in their house? Are their kids graduating? Like, they're just really spending time. They're going to look at them on social media and say, when's the last time I connected with this person? What information or what value could I provide to people in real time? So you could just take a letter a day in your database and really drill down and figure out, who are my very best people and what does my pipeline look like for the next year? Go out a year. So many times the training is all about what you can do to find someone today. And you might be working with some people today, and that's fantastic. People are still buying and selling. I mean, I had 5 calls yesterday. So there are people that are buying. And 2 of them have houses to sell that they're putting on the market. So there's still some activity, but what does your pipeline look like for July? September?
Oof.
And it's kind of fun. So if you wanted to set up a time, we could just look at your database and I could show you in Bouge how you could really go deep and use the tagging and use the follow-up system and set some tasks for yourself. I think it would just be a great use of your hour. You still want to be getting in your hour of lead generation and your hour of lead conversion. Your client care might have taken a little bit of a hit right now, but you're going to be super busy. I mean, this is very temporary. So, come May, June, July, I mean, you guys are going to be killing it. So I would take advantage right now. What's working in your business? What could you improve on? Who are your very best referrers and how are you spoiling them? And then start to really think about your pipeline and how much you know about your people. That'd be a good focus maybe for next week. So anybody want to share how some lead generation's going? I think open houses were pausing. Did anybody, is anybody actively working with some buyers and sellers, new listings, new buyers? Want to share?
I am.
What you got going on, Ricky?
Yeah, tell us. Share some good stuff.
I've got an inspection at noon. Lender that I like, but she's usually, it's Nova Home Loans, and they're good and reputable and get the job done and don't have funding issues and blah, blah, blah. So I like them, but they've got lots of rules. They do, but
rules.
but my buyer locked with interest rates and the stock market and everything so crazy. Interest rates went from 3 weeks ago at 3.25, then went to 4.25 and 4.5, and back down to 3 3/4 and blah blah blah. She locked yesterday FHA 3.125.
Wow.
So that's
amazing.
Serious now. And if that's happening now, and once the world feels better and this lovely corona, people start getting well and stuff like that, I have a feeling rates are going to plummet, so it'll make people rock and roll. So I've got two fixers, one in Harvey Park, one in Ruby Hill, and then one in Aurora coming. And they are basically going to be first time buyer or flippers. I don't like to say I don't want flippers, but that's who's going to buy these $360,000 houses. But it is what
Maybe
it,
Joe would buy another one.
yeah. I mean, the one by Ruby Hill is 4 doors from a school. So it's perfect for a little family.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping somebody in our office has somebody.
that's great. Yeah, put that in the Facebook page, it'll
Yep.
come in soon.
Yeah, I should go by and take pictures of the outside and do that.
Yeah,
it's
and I
good to
hope
hear that
y'all are
interest
drilling
rates are
down
good.
into first too. Sorry about that.
And you're right too, Holly. This is a perfect time to get into your database. You asked, I got a call, so I had to mute myself. But way back when, I was a Keller Williams agent, and Keller did really, to me, wonderful training back in the day. Now I'm not so sure, but that's why I'm not a Keller agent either. But nonetheless, nobody told me 20 years ago that your database was going to be as important and why. And so I didn't do it. So coming to Remax Urban a couple of years ago, I have really stepped it up and mailed people stuff and texted people and said hi and tried to do the touches and stuff like that. This is the perfect time, and trust me, I'm going to be sitting in front of my computer adding some more people in, and just it's a great time. Just even text, slide dial, or whatever, something just to say hi because everybody's home.
It's so true. And, everyone's going through something, right? And, but it's a great way to connect. And we talked about that even on Monday. This week should be all phone calls. Next week could be all personal notes. Get into Booge and do the follow-up. What's the next step system? Maybe, following week it's a text. Set up virtual calls like this. You can do it through Messenger. You can do it through Zoom. You can do it through GoToMeeting. There's lots of options. I just had a friend this morning. She's like, hey, let's do a group happy hour. I haven't seen anybody in a while. Let's try to do one tonight. I need to make a note because somebody did that online Saturday night trivia and they said it was really fun. So I need to go find that and share it in the group. A trivia night would be great. And really just reaching out and seeing how people are faring. I'm actually talking with people I haven't talked to in like a year and a half. I mean, people are just coming out of the woodwork. It's so funny. And a lot of them aren't realtors. They're just either friends or past clients. And I've been reaching out too to a lot of people. So it is a great time to make those connections and put the notes in Booge and see what the next step is. I'd be happy to sit with anybody. I did post some stuff in the Facebook group that go to ready to go newsletter. I think I put a couple things in there. So look there. I'll get them to Tess too. I try to share them to her, but I know I had gone right in and just put a couple things in Facebook. So if I can help anybody with anything that I talked about Monday or going through your database, just reach out and we can set up a Zoom call. Like I said, Kyle and I are going to do social media today, and we'll just do it through Zoom. And I'll just call you after, like probably about noon, Kyle, around lunchtime or after lunch if it's better. And we can get that done. So I'm working from home, so it's just giving me, more opportunity. I think I'm doing the Tactical Tuesday this week instead of Mojo. So we're really trying to stay connected, and I'm happy to help any way I can. Even I have a personal note challenge. This is our last week on that. People have shared some great ideas in there. I'll go in and grab some of the ideas that people have been sharing about the notes that they're doing. So that's been really effective, and I'm just staying positive as much as I can. Definitely, I think I said Monday, I've kind of been on a little bit of a roller coaster, feeling good today, all pumped up, ready to go, ready to get some notes done today. I'm just going to pump out a bunch of personal notes. Really looking forward to doing that. And, it'll be this, I forget how long are we in the shelter till the 11th or It'll be here
For now,
about
for now the state is April 11th. Yeah.
the 11th. So today's already the 27th. I mean, that's going to be here.
2
You know,
weeks.
use this time to really get your systems in place and see what's working. And then you're going to be super busy. So you want to really spend that time putting all this stuff into place so you're not running around, you're running a business. You know, I don't know if anybody listened to Jared James the other day, but he always has some good stuff. I didn't listen to it yet, but somebody posted that from it. So I want to listen to that today. I guess he was did a thing for Remax the other night. And listen to the good stuff. It's out there. Brian Buffini's awesome. Those lessons from the ashes, just, you want to talk about somebody that went through a challenging time in 2008, 9, and 10. Whew. I mean, what an inspiring story that was. It made me, I had a whole different perspective after I listened to that the other day. So definitely give that one a listen. It's great. Who else has got some buyers or sellers or challenges you want to put into the group or successes? Love to hear some good stuff.
Caleb, you got a seller, don't you? Talk about your seller a little bit. Caleb?
Yeah. He's working on getting approved right now. He's working with Corey Wesley at Cherry Creek Mortgage. I sent him the definitions of working relationships last night. So I'm waiting for him to sign that, get that next step going, and then we're gonna try to get together next week to see if we can just sign that listing contract and get things going.
All right, where's he looking?
He's actually in 80111. He wants to stay there. He doesn't want to look anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where he is. So, yeah. He's he's not
111,
super.
where is that?
Oh, that's in Inglewood. Yeah, it's like right west of the Cherry Creek Reservoir.
You could probably do a targeted ad to that zip code. I think you can do by zip
Ooh,
code.
I would love to do
Yeah,
that.
you could. A Facebook ad, yes, you could.
Put exactly what he's looking for. You get to really create your own inventory. It's a great thing. Especially if there's no inventory, go create your own.
Okay. How do I do that? Is that in Facebook or?
Yeah, you could do it in Facebook. You could go into the tax records and try to locate properties that fit what he's looking for. And you could, I just got a letter. Somebody wanted to buy my house. I'm not selling. I don't know if it's a real offer.
There's only two available that, in his criteria right now. And it's just really, really low inventory.
Yeah,
You
look
could
at
call a title company too and get addresses if you wanted.
Yeah, Realist. You could do all that through Realist too.
Oh yeah, you probably could.
Yeah. You can drill down and find anything. If you want to set up a time, we can get on the computer together and drill down and look at it.
Yeah, I would love that, Holly. For sure.
Yeah, if you're around this afternoon or.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Great.
Let's do it.
All right. Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
What you got going on, Angela?
Oh, I was just my seller that I talked about that he wanted me to, put it in the MLS so I could get that prospect list.
Yeah.
Pulled it back out. And then now he actually wants me to put it back in, which I did this morning full time, but just put in there in the instructions that we're not doing showings right now at this moment, but he decided he wanted that full exposure because I think he's been analyzing everything and sees that this is short-lived and everything's going to come right back around. So it's just been interesting watching him go through it in his own time and kind of getting in his mindset. And I have so many different clients right now, one from the most anxious, high anxiety person ever. And then you add before COVID and you add that onto it, and then this seller is very methodical and has been watching everything. So it's definitely keeping me on my toes, as you talked about, like really knowing not just the people in your sphere list of whether they're an A, B, or C, but your current clients and how to communicate with them. And I know Kit put out that piece last week, just things from her psychology background on, just knowing you have to wear different hats and you have to communicate differently with each client. So I've actually enjoyed the challenge. And so now we're back live in the MLS on that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. What you got going on, Cody?
Well, at the moment, just making a whole lot of phone calls, just trying to do a better job, just reaching out to my sphere.
which, you know, like we were talking about, this is an excellent opportunity just to check in and say, hey, how's everyone doing? You know, is there anything that, you know, I can offer you guys, and kind of go from there. I did have a question that was not related to this. Have you guys heard anything about foreclosures? Are we expecting like a wave of foreclosures after this? Since I know that's getting delayed right now. What's the word on that?
I can jump in. I haven't heard anything immediately. I think it might be too early to tell just because we don't know what's going to happen with, you know, them allowing, you know, people to be 30 days late and some of the packages that are coming down the pipe. So, you know, I think that the stat that Nicole Ruth gave us last week was that 40% of homeowners own their homes free and clear, and another 40% have at least 50% equity. So if those numbers are accurate, even if people don't have a few months of mortgage payments, I don't know if necessarily, you know, we're going to start to see a huge amount of foreclosures. My gut's telling me we'll see some, but not a lot.
Okay.
Another avenue for lead generating is non-owner occupied homes. So people that have rental properties that might be ready to unload in the next, you know, and you can pull up non-owner occupied properties through Realist and get those names and addresses. And it's a great, you know, way to start conversation. I mean, I had the rental I had in Atlanta. Every month I got 3 letters a month from people. Some were investors and some were agents. I mean, it's just, you never know, you know. So you can really craft some good messaging for that too. Something to think about. Just, you know, you need to have a budget because you're gonna want to mail a letter. But you could pick a target area and just think about doing that. You could pick 10 non-owner occupied and mail them every month. At some point, they're going to unload that property. You know, if you just set it and forget it, it's just something you could always think about. I always think about it. What can I always have running that, you know, I'm going to do my face-to-face. I'm going to do my phone calls. I'm going to do that. But what else can be working for me? You know, that's why I'm a big fan of farming. There's agents that farm in Stonegate, and I see their signs. So I know it works. You just have to be all in.
About 1,000 regular stamps, you know, they're like 55 cents for like 20 cents a piece off eBay. So they're out there.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a good idea, I guess.
That's awesome. And, you know, those people that, well, they might relist with their agent, but if there were any off markets, you know, people that withdrew for now, you could still send them a letter offering them something different than maybe what they had. You know, people don't own those people. So just something to think about. Anybody else?
Yeah, for me, I'm sorry, I was just saying for me, I have a lot of friends that are actually looking to move to Colorado in the next 6 months to a year. So really trying to stay with those people. You know, phone calls are the big one for me. I mean, especially with people that you've already established a good, you know, obviously a good relationship with. You know, just trying to stay in contact with those people, you know, throughout that whole process is where I'm kind of at right now mostly.
Have them set up an account on your website and get on a search. You know, it's never too early. Keep them engaged. You know, a lot of times the thing that changes people's motivation is information.
Right.
You know, so having them get on that search now, I'd be encouraging everybody to set up an account on your website.
Okay.
You know, there's
maybe set up some some constant like MLS stuff as well, as far as just setting them up on, you know, a search in certain areas. Might be a good idea too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd try to probably do it through my website, but you could use the MLS. You know, I want to kind of keep them seeing my face all the time. I guess the same thing with the MLS, but we have a great website. Might as well, you know, they can go in. There's 9 different criteria that they can put in. They can look at, uncheck the, you know, the ones that are under contract, so that they're only getting homes that are available. You can, you know, get the app on their phone, get your mobile app on their phone. Any way that you can kind of just.
Well, the good news is that
I was gonna say, I've got a potential buyer. They've been on the fence for a little bit, and be a second home or third home that they're looking at. But they're asking me, they're just telling me yesterday, like, yeah, I think we're really a year out, Ben, and blah, blah, blah. Do you really think we should get pre-approved now? And start looking. And I looked at her on Zoom here and I was like, hey, you're the perfect example. Last year, you said I'm a year out, but I'm going to get pre-approved. And I said, how long would it take you to find a house and go under contract? She's like, yeah, about a month. I was like, right. So if you really want to be off for a year, then don't get pre-approved and don't be looking at houses. But realistically, those people that say they're a year out or whatever it is for whatever reason, as soon as they start seeing that their potential dream is out there, they're like, oh shit, how do we see this house? And going back to what Holly said, I've set up pretty strict protocol with all my clients right now that you got to be pre-approved. And I put it on the seller. The seller wants to know that they're pre-approved before they go into their house. So all these people have been saying, hey, can we go see this place? I'm like, absolutely. Once you get pre-approved, there's just new rules in place that are preventing us from seeing it if you're not pre-approved. So get that pre-approval in, and then we'll get out there and start looking.
And shouldn't we have always been doing that?
What's that?
Oh yeah, and
Shouldn't we have always been doing that?
rates are going to go really good. It's people that are on the fence need to jump the hell off.
Yeah, you could be doing great videos. You could be doing a weekly, remember I said set up a live every week the same time, state of the market or a day in the life of real estate, or something about the trends that are going on. And that's fantastic about what you're envisioning happening. Look for the good stuff. Use Megan's information. She, it's just great information is out there.
You use what Ricky just said with his client, because yesterday Marty was saying with the bond market being bought up and mortgage-backed securities going away, that rates are going to go up. That's what I said in my live Facebook yesterday. But on my next post, I'll say, hey, I mentioned that they predicted rates are going to go up because bonds are being purchased and mortgage-backed securities aren't being invested in. But my buddy Ricky here got somebody under contract for 3.125. Was that for a 30-year?
Yeah, 30-year fixed FHA. And it's time. Well, and you can't lock until you get a house, but I just think the market's going to go crazy if people wait too darn long. May is going to be wild.
Super wild. It's already wild. And I wanted to say that too. Patrick Roscoe said yesterday, he's got a closing today. He was showing houses up in friggin' Loveland in the 650 range, and there were multiple offers.
Yeah.
I was just talking to an agent yesterday at a house in Evergreen that was listed for 1.1. Been on the market for a week and a half. They skipped the open house last weekend for coronavirus. I called them yesterday expecting, to just be like, hey, can we get in there Saturday? And then to write a lowball offer. And he's like, yeah, we got 3 offers on the house.
Wow.
That's at 1.1. The last one I put under contract 2 weeks ago on a Friday in Parker had 3 offers on it. So I don't know what you guys are seeing showing houses or if you're competing out there, but this idea that shit's just sitting there and you're going to get a good deal is crap.
It ain't going to happen. The one I have under contract, when I was showing for the last 2 weeks, pardon me, we have 3 people in front of me, 3 people behind me. One house had 28 offers. One house had 13 offers, and one house only had 4. And we lost all 3 of them. Finally got this last one, had to overbid it by $7,000. And I reduced my commission. Don't let Angela yell at me for that, but I know, stop it with the mouth. But I wanted her to get the house. You got to do what you got to do in this market to get it, to make it happen.
How much did you reduce your commission on that one?
You don't know. Angela and Ben are on here. They're going to yell.
Don't say it, Ricky. For what? Okay, so yeah, you're not allowed to talk commissions, but I did hear you say you had 3 people behind you.
Well, showing, you're so bad. It's so funny. These people are either freakazoid for the showing. They don't want to be close to you. Even my inspector tomorrow said, you can open the door and let us in and you got to go. I said, okay.
In the last 3 days, we've had 1,010 new listings.
Wow.
In the last 3 days.
Wow.
Today alone, we've had 102 new listings.
Wow.
431 in the last 24 hours.
I know people are freaking out in the world, but it's a time.
This is the first time I've seen less pending than new listings. In 7 days, we've had 1,500 new listings and 1,300 pendings. It's usually like 1,800 pendings and 1,600 new listings. So there was a shortage of inventory when this whole thing started, and all the buyers don't have homes that we had 0.4 for every one buyer, like Megan said. So I think we still have historically low inventory right now, and a lot of buyers that still need houses. So.
Sorry, I think Megan mentioned that 0.4 number, 0.4 houses for every buyer jumped to 1 house for every buyer, but until we even see any kind of balanced market, we need 6 houses for every buyer. So we're not anywhere near close to that.
Not even.
All of this, we doubled from 0.4 to 1. So we got a ways to go. So I think we just need to, again, be communicating that. I mean, our clients are watching the national news, and this is such a hyper local market, and there's a lot of cities out there that have low inventory, but we're sitting in a good position as Denver as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Holly, do you have any good ideas? Well, and Ben and Angela might too. My friend Trish Kelly, she always see her on Facebook that she's always multiple offers and her buyer always wins. Do you have any good, for all the rest of us, any good tips on how to write the contract the best way so you get yours accepted besides price? You know what I'm trying to say?
And I'm sure Ben and Angela have some stuff to add. One thing that we're big fans of is just calling that listing agent and asking what the perfect offer would look like, because it's not always price. Sometimes it's moving date, or they might need to rent back. Like, really finding out their trigger points, I think is a really good strategy. What would the perfect offer look like, in all areas, not just price, is probably one thing. And then I'm sure Ben and Angela have more other things too to add. Maybe.
That was the first thing I was going to say, is pick up the damn phone. You gotta, that's part of your highest and best value, is being able to divine information from the listing agent that other agents aren't able to. And sometimes that conversation just starts off with, hey, did you ask your seller if you can talk about the strength of the other offers in order to bring this price up? And if they say no, then you're like, all right, well, instead of us going back and forth and you having a 6-hour night trying to figure out which contracts were, why don't you just tell me where we need to be? My buyer is ready to get there, and I'm an agent to get you to closing, and my lender is #1 in the state, whatever. Like, and you have to show why you're going to get there. So whenever I'm in a multiple offer situation as a listing agent, I constantly tell my seller, now as we're looking at these, I want you to know that this agent here has been calling me every 2 hours, has been communicating. They got the best lender that I've seen yet that called me. I think they're going to be the ones that are going to get to the closing table, because that's what your highest and best offer to me is the one that's going to actually get to closing, not the one that's offering the moon and then going to back out because they got cold feet during inspection. So you also have to talk ahead of time about what you saw as a buyer's agent that could be potential objections that other buyers are going to see. You're going to say, hey, look, I saw that deck. We're good with it. We know that deck needs to be replaced, but we're willing to move forward without it. You're going to have other people during the inspection period that's going to want 30 grand, and they're going to back out because you're not going to give it to them. We're willing to take the risk on that deck, whatever that is. You got to be able to find things in that house that are going to show that you're not going to look. They all know. Those sellers know exactly the top 3 things that people are going to find in inspection that are hidden, whatever that is. If you can find those things through a walkthrough and kind of explain that you're not going to object to those, or that you see it and you're going to be realistic about it, then I think those are some of the valuable things that could put you closer in the first place.
I forgot about that too. If you're smart, you write in additional provisions like other people have, if you have the talk with your buyer about inspection and you're only going to go after, stuff that's more than, let's say, $1,500 or health and safety or something like that.
Yeah, those are your two biggest additional provisions. Language for me is appraisal gap if you're multiples offer, and inspection
Yep.
language.
Well,
Yeah, I
most
think
people
for
have
me,
the money.
that appraisal gap, just because when I get multiple offers on my listings, I tell my sellers that it's not worth the paper it's written on if there's not an appraisal gap. I don't care how high they went in price.
Yep.
They don't have any way to back it up. So, I take the offers and I dissect them down based on that appraisal gap. I'm like, yeah, this person offered 465, but we're listed at 430 and there's a 10,000 appraisal gap, and we're already pushing the price when I gave you your CMA. So really this 465 offer is a 440 offer.
Yep.
I think having that appraisal gap, and I have, when I do my buyer orientations, I let them know that there's a really good chance that they're going to be in a multiple offer situation. And I go through this, if you fall in love with the house, here's your all-in list, which includes that, not just the price, the appraisal gap, the inspection clause, maybe doubling the earnest money just because that stands out in a contract. Being flexible with the dates and deadlines so that we can match what the seller is looking for. And I just say, hey, if you find that house you love and there's multiple offers, I'm going to say, here's your all-in list, and you pick which ones you want to put into your offer.
Seems like with a multiple offer situation, really information is king. I mean, the more you can find out from the seller and the seller's broker, the more leverage you're going to have ultimately. The last one that I had was a couple who were getting divorced and they wanted to get out as soon as possible, which was pretty excellent leverage as the buyer's agent to say, hey, we can make this happen quick. This is the situation the sellers are in, let's go. But obviously that's, a very individualized situation. And that's the interesting thing about real estate is that they're all just so individual. So different.
Yeah, that's a great point. If just Ben and Holly both said it, but finding out what does the seller really want and give them what they want, because it's a seller's market.
Yep.
I love having the lender call the agent. When I bought my house here, like we were in Atlanta, and the houses we were looking at before ours went on the market, we're going. And I'm like, oh my God, we're never going to get a house. And the agent's like, people don't even want contingencies. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're selling a house. It'll be under contract. We were so paranoid. And then we found our house in Stonegate. It went on the market like on Saturday. And I think my husband was already out here. And we got over here Sunday. And we made a full price offer. 3 other people had looked that day. And I have to admit, my agent she was really good. And with this respect, she's like, these people are coming from out of town. They've already sold their house. He's here. They're ready to go. The lender called the agent and was like, if you're going to sell it to anybody, you want to sell it to these people. They really went. And then what the best thing that my agent Lee did, honestly, was we put in the offer Sunday night, and she put that we had to have an answer by 10 in the morning because we were coming from out of state and we had to know whether or not we were going to be able to get it. And so it kind of forced them to act on ours instead of waiting for additional offers. And they ended up being like the most wonderful sellers on the planet. But anyway, we did get the deal. So it was great having the lender call, and he called like that Sunday night. I mean, he was on it. He was just really good. So I like that when Ben said that. I think that's a great idea. We used to also strengthen the pre-letter, like the letters from the lender. We would give the credit score. We would give that we've already checked funds. Yeah, the lender, because they can give the information if the buyer agrees to it. So there's little things you can do here and there that,
That's a really good idea.
Because sometimes you can't get agents on the phone.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, if the buyer agrees to it, you can put their credit score, that they've already verified funds, you can have it where it's not just they're pre-approved with the following, and a lot of lenders are actually putting them all the way through underwriting, just waiting on the address. So if you have a good lender, they'll do that.
Yeah, that was one of my last deals. We chose the one that was already through underwriting because we just saw this starting to crumble with COVID a couple of weeks ago. And thought, you know, again, like Ben said, you're looking for the offer that's most likely to get from the closing table, whether you're working with a seller or you're writing it for your buyer. That's what the seller wants. They want to know which one is going to get closed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a buyer right now on the new construction, and I'm not writing the contract until they're all the way through. So they're still getting pay stubs together. I mean, I could have gotten a prequal, but I said, no, let's, you know, take them all the way through because I don't want the builder to get mad. So that's what I'm doing. We got good prices out in Strasburg. So if you know anybody that wants to get away from the hustle and bustle in a small town and walk to schools and have a population of 3,000, you can get a lot of house for the money right now out in Strasburg.
And it's not that far away.
Now it's 25 minutes from 225. That's it.
Yeah.
18 minutes to DIA.
Send out, if you have any information or pricing, I'd love to see the new slash prices because I've got
Yeah.
someone in new build. I think I might be able to get them to at least look out there.
Perfect. I forwarded it to myself. I meant to forward it to you last night. I've got the link for the listings in the MLS. Yeah, 390 to 415. It's
Oh, wow.
unfinished basements, 3 and 4 car garages, granite, sprinklers front and back. Sorry, I'm being a commercial. Landscaping front and back, privacy fence, all included, AC. I mean, it's a lot of house for money. So
Wow. That's awesome.
The builder.
it's Paul's Homes,
Oh,
part of Paul's Court.
I don't think I've heard of them.
Yeah, they do a lot of commercial. They did the Laurel down in Cherry Creek, those condos, high-end condos. They're buildings right in downtown Cherry Creek, but they've developed like the Denver Tech Center, Gateway Park. They don't do a lot of residential, but they've been building out there actually for about 20 years. They're like the only builder out there, pretty much. Any other challenges or successes that y'all want to talk about, or?
I have a question. So, obviously right now it's very important to have a good lender and making sure you're doing your due diligence as far as, making sure that that they have everything they need to get to the closing table, right? Other than that, what are some big issues that, we can expect during this time that we've been running into?
I think on the line of lenders, I have I always have a list of 5 lenders that I send out to people when they ask for them so they can have a choice.
Right.
2 of the lenders right now are basically not answering their phone.
Okay.
And I know that, even Corey that I referred to Caleb, he got 15 new applications just on Tuesday. And he got even more on Wednesday. I talked to another lender for another buyer yesterday. She said that her firm, which had 4 lenders, had 115 new applications this week. Everybody is reaching out, running out to try and get pre-approved before shit hits the fan. I think that's what they're thinking. They got to be thinking that. If that lenders are incredibly busy. So you got to reach out to even the lenders that you trust and make sure they're operating on all 8 cylinders, because otherwise they could be dropping the ball for your buyer when 3 weeks ago they were doing everything they could to keep them taken care of. So I just wanted to throw that out there too as a lesson learned for me this week.
And I have dumped, I know that's a terrible word, but I have dumped lenders over the years just because they forgot to do something. I mean, a 4506 that you make sure that they paid all their taxes. One of the lenders forgot to do that in a timely manner. So we didn't close because of course they found that her ex-husband didn't file the taxes, blah, blah, blah. So bye-bye to that lender. It's like, okay, there's other people that have their shit together.
So I got a message this morning from one of my preferred lenders, and there she's doing a call tonight just to update everyone, but it pretty much just said that, I'm reading it right now, just came in, the mortgage lenders increased prices to mitigate intense refinance demand, resulting in higher interest rates, and that they're overloaded. So even some of your best lenders just, if they're overloaded, they're overloaded. So I think that's a good point Ben makes. Like maybe part of your calls today are reaching out to your lenders or sending them a message just to see where they're at, because I've had to give 2 lender referrals this week, which is great, except that referral always comes back to reflect on us. whether it's COVID or not. So if we give them a name of someone that can't even perform, that's not how we want to start off the relationship if they're, ready to purchase right now. So I think, again, we talked about vendors the other day, but just reach out to them as well, not just your database and your sphere, and check how they're doing and check if they can even handle any business right now.
Is everybody using the addendum that did you put out I may have missed it. Did you have an addendum for like an extension or a pause or something on
Yeah, Angela said
transactions?
it's on CTM now for everybody to upload into their files.
Okay.
Yesterday at Roundup, we went through that disclosure, talked about it, and then it's in everyone's CTM file, but it's not mandatory that we use it because we had a big discussion that we don't know if it's the best interest. You really have to think about, is this the best interest for your client, whether you're working on the seller side or the buyer side. So we just kind of let everyone know if you need to use that addendum or you get it on one of your transactions to reach out to Ben Kitterai so we can walk through the situation. Again, that's going to be a unique situation. And the example I gave is I have a closing that's happening this afternoon, but the agent just in frantic state filled it out and said they could do a 30-day delay and send it over to me with her buyer's signature when we're still closing Friday today. So it didn't make any sense to use it. So you don't have to use it in every single case.
No, and I had an offer come in and the girl said that her office is requiring it. And I'm like, I'm not thinking the builder's going to want to sign it.
No.
And the funny thing is that I had 2 offers this week and they're both from Berkshire Hathaway, and one didn't have it. And the other girl's trying to tell me that it's mandatory. I'm like, not thinking it's mandatory.
It's not mandatory. And it affects people differently, and it can benefit your buyer or seller in the beginning, and then later on not benefit them and be a complete roadblock to getting their house closed. So
And they'll lose their loan
like I was saying yesterday, I think the contract's built for us to negotiate these things when they come about. If you want to put an amendment in place to move dates at the time that somebody gets quarantined or sick, then do so at that time. Other than that, to have these automatic clauses in there, I don't like them at all. Not for either side.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just, in a way, it's an excuse. I've got the one that's closing this afternoon. The buyer actually is on quarantine with COVID, and but she said, you know what, I want a power of attorney. I still want to get this closed. So I mean, that's the motivated buyer we were looking for in the beginning, that wants to get to the closing table and has a reason to close on that house in that neighborhood in this time period. So again, it's using your skills to figure out which people are motivated. So a lot of people would have used that as an excuse, and but she also knows there's a backup offer behind her as well. So if she wants the house, she had to figure out a power of attorney and get it closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think as a listing agent, you want to get a closing. I've got 2 right now that I wrote for 21 days. Lenders are doing 21 days right now, and I think that as a listing agent, you got to keep this language out of your contract. Personally, I wouldn't accept an offer with it right now because I want to get to closing. It's an excuse, like Angela said, and you got to say that to the buyer's agent. Hey, if your buyer's motivated, they'll get a power of attorney, and they might come with some really dramatic, oh my gosh, you're so insensitive if they're quarantined or sick. But my cousin's on quarantine from South Metro right now, and he's 100% fine. He's texting and social media more than ever. Just because they're on quarantine doesn't mean they're sick. Now, if they got pneumonia, they're going to be out of commission, and probably not in the right mind to be able to be making decisions, where power of attorney comes in and they communicate ahead of time, I want this house, right? So don't let drama come into the process. That's our job.
Yeah, and again, being a seller's market and have like Ricky said, 13 offers on one property, 25 on another. Like, there's no reason, if you're representing your seller, that they need to take that disclosure. Again, you got to figure out if it's right for your client.
What do you guys recommend as being a listing agent to talk to your seller about these people that hold, listed on Thursday and hold till Sunday and have 20 offers? Do you think that's in the best interest of the seller, or should you, stop it in 3 days? How do you handle that?
I can jump in. what I do is I wait till the first offer comes in, and then I let my seller direct me and say, here's the first offer in. They came right out of the bat. We had showings start at 9 a.m. They sent me an offer at Friday at noon, but we haven't exposed the property. So do you want to accept this offer and just be done with it? Where, I mean, people's emotions are high right now. I had one a couple weeks ago where she said, I'm done with showings. We had 25 showings. I have 3 offers. Like, we're not even going through Sunday. But I let the seller direct me, but I also, you know, guide them and give them my professional recommendation of, you know, we've only had 2 showings through the door. So we've got 8 more or 10 more scheduled tomorrow. Maybe we should at least see if there's any other interest. So again, I don't have a cookie cutter answer, but I just take it individual situation.
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, Ricky, you gotta what she said was key. I think was that let the seller decide, because
Right.
these agents, and I can give you an example on an evergreen a month ago. My buyer used a lot of bad words for this lady, but she pigeonholed everybody in a showing for one day and blamed it on VRBO schedule. And from the first time I got on the phone with her, she was dictating the entire transaction to me and telling me how to behave and all these things. She was one of those agents who, you know, was telling the seller, this is best for you to get everybody in here in one day, and we'll look at multiple offers. I mean, those are the words coming out of her mouth. Where, Ben, you know this thing's going to sell. We're going to have multiple offers and this thing's going. So if your buyer wants to get here, they need to get off work. Like, I can tell you so many things she said to me condescendingly. That house is still on the market. She could not get it under contract. Smack in the face. You know, so the seller could fire her and possibly go for a lawsuit if she was really mandating those things. You know, so we can't control it. Those agents will do what they're going to do, but you're putting yourself at risk, I think, as a listing agent, if you're trying to tell them the best way to get multiple offers and what's best for them. You have to be very careful.
Fair enough. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have anything else for this Friday? 2 weeks ago, things started to crumble. We've made it 2 weeks.
It's going to be almost 72 hours before we talk again.
We might have to.
It's like 6 weeks.
I got another idea. In addition to the trivia night, we're doing a talent show because today's Annie, my daughter's birthday. So we're doing a Zoom talent show where each family is having to put together a talent show, and I sent everyone a party favor ahead of time a few days ago, so they get it right before to have to add that prop into their talent to get bonus points. So you gotta get creative.
That's awesome.
Hey, you could send high heels out to everybody, but I think Ricky's got enough for the talent show.
You are so bad.
So bad, it's good. We love you, Ricky. It's so good to see your face on here. I know you've been busy. Do a little plug for the restaurant, will you? What do you got cooking this weekend?
I'm done. In 2-3 days, I made 80 pans of either chicken and cheese enchiladas or cheese and onion enchiladas or pot roast or baked chili relleno. So I'm done until Sunday. So
good.
Next week I'm making my dish. You guys, I haven't even made it for you guys yet. It's sausage and peppers and penne. It's out of this world.
Ooh, I think I had that on your anniversary. Was that your anniversary?
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. That's I'll sell a ton of that, so that's okay.
Nice.
Good. All right, everyone. Good to see you. Have a good weekend. Mojo Monday. So make sure you tune in for that. Hopefully your calendars are clear and you can make it happen. So Tactical Tuesday for those of you in the mentor program, 90% attendance. So we got to get you guys getting through and graduated that mentor program within 6 months. So we just had Joe close up his third deal a couple months ahead of time of graduating. So
nice.
You know, he followed the system, so it's awesome. So thanks, Holly, too, for hopping in today. Send us those deals. We can all put some on the contract in a great deal and work with you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Kyle, I'll talk to you in a little bit. I'll send you a Zoom link.
See you later.
Okay. Have a great day. Bye.
All right.
Later.